Raf was driving his Toyota Camry through New York City on a street with a speed limit of 25 miles per hour. He was proceeding through a green light, giving plenty of room for a double-parked vehicle and traffic in the left turn lane, when a car coming the other way swerved around traffic, slamming into Raf before he could react. His dashcam lost power when the impact occurred, so the video stops at this point. The vehicle that hit him was stolen, and it slammed into him at 55 miles per hour. Both vehicles were obliterated, and Raf was hospitalized with a broken femur. 8 hours later, he had surgery to insert a metal rod into his bone, held in place by 4 screws. Here's what Raf's car looked like before the accident. Now he has no car and hasn't been able to work for months. He's hired an attorney, and they're currently trying to get access to footage from multiple NYPD cameras that captured the accident. We'll update you in a future episode if they're successful. Jeb was driving his Mercury Milan to work one very rainy morning when he approached a green light. As he proceeded through the intersection, another driver ran her red light right in front of him. The woman in her 70s stated after the accident that she hadn't seen Jeb's car. She reported some pain and was taken to a hospital to be checked out, but thankfully, Jeb was okay. Her insurance provider took responsibility even without seeing the dashcam footage, and Jeb received a settlement for twice what he'd paid for the car in the first place. He was also able to salvage his custom wheels and roof rack. This next clip, whoops, hold on a second. Much better. This next clip comes to us from Australia, where Bradley had a very close call with a trailer being pulled by a truck. Since everything in Australia is the wrong way around, drivers sit on the right side of their cars, so it's highly unlikely the driver of the truck hadn't noticed Bradley's Subaru. Fortunately for Bradley, he was paying better attention than the pickup driver was. Here's another close call, this one coming to us from South Africa. The submitter was driving down a windy road with a speed limit of about 50 miles per hour when a car coming the other way crossed the double yellow lines into their lane. The other driver had decided to pass a cyclist on a blind corner. Fortunately, the submitter was able to dodge them. Otherwise, the cyclist may have been struck by one of them, which would not have been pretty. The Kraus family sent us 2 clips. In this first one, Mrs. Kraus was slowing down to make a left turn when an impatient driver attempted to pass her. The Subaru barely clipped her Chevy Trax as it went sliding off the road. Thanks to their rock protection, only a minor scratch was visible. In the other clip they sent us, Mr. Kraus was driving a semi-truck for work when the driver of a car cut him off, forcing him to hit them before driving off. Mr. Kraus called the police, but they couldn't make out the license plate number from the dashcam footage. Since his trucking company was already planning to replace the truck later that month, they decided not to pursue it. Emmanuel installs dashcams for a living. Check out what one of the dashcams he'd installed captured on a road in Israel. Fortunately, Emmanuel was able to slam on the brakes just in time to avoid an accident. He says drivers in that area are crazy. Al was driving his Volkswagen Jetta for Uber down I-95 while chatting with his passenger when he watched a car on the other side of the highway spin around before slamming into the guardrail. Al doesn't know what caused the accident or what the aftermath was, but hilariously, his passenger hadn't noticed it happen at all. Travis was driving down a road with a speed limit of 35 miles per hour when a Jeep pulled out in front of him doing about 20. Suddenly, the Jeep driver slammed on the brakes, nearly causing Travis to rear-end him. Travis was able to stop in time, but he thinks the other driver was intentionally trying to cause an accident, even though Travis had already slowed down. Tuan was headed to work one morning when traffic stopped for an accident up ahead. Another driver decided to go for the exit instead, but someone else didn't notice until it was too late. Fortunately, it looks like the other driver braked in time to prevent the accident from being too serious, but Tuan couldn't stop to check on them since he was already late for work. Leslie was driving her Cupra Born down a Belgian highway when she witnessed a pileup of 4 cars. One car hit another that had slowed down, pushing it into the next car, while a fourth one then hit the first one from behind. Meanwhile, back in South Africa, also known as Mzansi, Gareth was on his way to get a haircut when a car with front-end damage came flying down the road toward him. A little way down the road, a cop car passed Gareth, evidently in hot pursuit of the reckless driver. Even though he was able to avoid an accident, he's glad he has car insurance just in case. He says that most people in that area are uninsured. Carlton was sitting in his parked Jeep Wrangler Unlimited when he watched a Honda driver back up just a little bit too far, right into Carlton's winch. The Civic only left a tiny scuff on the Jeep's winch bumper, but its own rear bumper cover was damaged in the impact. The driver had been waiting for his wife, who was at her dentist appointment. Carlton said his daughter was mortified, and he can only imagine the earful he must have gotten from his wife later. He also said, "Honda bump knows no bounds." Chase was heading home from a party at 5 a.m. when another driver ran a flashing red light right in front of him.
They ran that.
He hit the brakes, which is the only reason he missed the car by inches. He contacted the police, but they couldn't do anything without a plate number, which isn't visible in the footage. Matt was driving his 1999 Saab 9-3 down the highway when he went to make a lane change, only to find a bunch of debris blocking his path. He's not sure exactly what he dodged, but it looks like some sort of ducting. Luckily, he was able to continue on with no harm done. Mr. Needs was driving past an airfield when he witnessed a fighter jet landing right across the road. He says this airfield is rarely used, so spotting landings like this is extremely uncommon. What a sight! By the way, remember Raph, the guy in the first video who was hit by a stolen car and put in the hospital? If you'd like to help him out, we've put a link to his GoFundMe page in the description. See you next Friday. Do you have a dashcam video that you want to share with us? Please send the video together with a description of what happened using the link in the description below.